Hello folks, I hope that you're having just a great day today. Today we're going to be taking a look at 1867's The Golden Key by George MacDonald, which I have a copy of in this book, the complete fairy stories that are published by Penguin Classics, which we've been taking a deep dive into. This is about a 40-page long short story. It took me about an hour and 10, 15, 20 minutes for me to read it, and I definitely enjoyed it. This is actually the reason why I bought this collection, was because I wanted to read this short story, The Golden Key. I had set aside 2 days to knock it out, and I got so inspired by it that I just said, you know what, I'm just going to finish it up. And I did, and I was very happy about that. I heard about The Golden Key from this novel, which I've already reviewed for you. It's written by J.r.r. Tolkien, Smith of Wootton Major. It's actually more of a novella. And in here, we find out that he had written a prelude for The Golden Key by George MacDonald, which is being republished. And while he was writing that prelude, he came up with an idea for a fairy story that he turns into the Smith of Wootton Major. So I'll link you to that down there below. In this collection, there is a copy of his prelude to The Golden Key. So if you're interested in seeing what J.R.R. Tolkien thought about this short story, he definitely thought a lot. He also wrote about this short story in his classic essay of fairy stories, where he makes the argument that fairy tales are meant for humans, and this is a very competent, well done short story, and he spends some time going over it. So he definitely was familiar with and influenced by The Golden Key. So let's take a look at The Golden Key. So Tolkien liked it, then, I guess any fantasy fan should probably be familiar with this short story. And I'll link you below to this for free, which should be available since it was 67 of last century, 2 centuries ago. And also it should be in this collection on Penguin Classics if you want to read it in paper like me. So no judgment either way. I'm not going to jump down your throat if you're like, oh, I want to read it for free, or if you're like, oh, I want to read it in print, or pick it up on an e-reader. I don't mind. No judgment here. But anyway, this short story has 2 main characters, and the first one is a boy protagonist, and the second one is a female protagonist named Tangle. And you're introduced to the boy protagonist first, and the idea is that in the nearby fairyland, they have these beautiful rainbows, and if you follow the rainbow, you'll find a golden key, which is a passport to a better life. And when our boy asks about the key, the person who's telling him, his great aunt, says, "Your father found this key," and it was a passport for him for a better life. So that's kind of a central idea. So when he sees a rainbow and he follows it into fairyland in order to find a golden key, and he'll find it on like page 2. And the cool thing about the rainbow is that it has a color in it that he doesn't recognize. All of the 7 colors plus another color in fairyland, which is cool. And then we move to our second main protagonist, the 10-year-old girl named Tangle. She lives in an isolated house with some maids. The fairies that are interacting with her begin to try to trick her, and then realize who she is, and that won't work on her. So they turn into bears, like the bears from 3 bears, like the bears from a certain fairy tale story, which scare her out and send her on her quest. She moves into fairy, and she runs into a fairy spirit in fairy who calls herself grandmother, who takes her in. And so basically we'll be following along these 2 protagonists, the girl and the boy. Now they both have things, but I would call the girl who's introduced second probably the bigger protagonist of the short story. There are more changes that happen to her, and also she's on for more pages. For example, the introductory pages by the boy have like 2 or 3 pages long. The introductory pages for the girl is like 7 or 8 pages long. And then near the conclusion of the story, we follow the girl, Tangle, for about 8 or 9 pages. Just her by herself. And we never follow him by himself again. So I definitely see him as less of a protagonist, even though we start with him. Than we do, whose name is Mossy, than we do with the girl named Tangle. And then that's it. It's fun, it's interesting, it's exotic. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. It's a definite classic in the genre. And I can see why Tolkien definitely liked it. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun stuff happens with it. So there you are. I'll go ahead and hold you to it. Have you read The Golden Key? If so, what did you think of it? I would be more than happy to engage you with it further in the comments below, whatever your opinion of the story is, and whether or not you agree with my 9 out of 10. If you like this video, why not hit that subscribe button, because there's going to be a lot more classics like these to follow in fantasy, science fiction, and horror. And then finally, I want to thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and investing it and watching my video. We all have so many things that are happening in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spent this time with me is incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it. So thanks again, and have a great day.